Hello everyone, you are watching a snippet of the Countdown program from December 1st, 2022. Today is Thursday. See the full version on Patreon. And thanks to everyone who is becoming our patrons right now. In the upper echelons of the cave sewer, stinkers began to ferment. The main questions are, where is the leader with his powerful message for the future, and if we suddenly lose, what will happen to us? The head of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, came up with the idea of creating a special tribunal under the auspices of the UN. France, together with European and Ukrainian partners, began work on the creation of a tribunal that would investigate Russia's crimes during the war against Ukraine. Elena Zelenskaya addressed the deputies of the British Parliament and called for organization of a special tribunal, which should convict those responsible for Russia's aggression against Ukraine. Against the background of the latest statements from the West, the fermentation of the upper layers of the near-Kremlin collector became so strong that it splashed out in waves through the screen of the zombie box. At first, Semyon hysterical, telling on the Solovyev air that the West is pressing Russia from all sides, and she, poor thing, can only bomb the territory of Ukraine. So, if she suddenly loses, then every Russian will have to answer, including the janitors sweeping the Kremlin. The idea of collective responsibility is correct, but the devil, as always, lies in the details. After all, the measure of such responsibility is different for everyone. It's one thing to be fooled and washed out by propaganda, and quite another to be the mistress of the fascist TV channel Semyon. But the propagandists were told to scare, so they bulged their eyes, growling at the viewer. The baton of the Hague hysteria was picked up by Skabe Ava, confirming the guess that instilling in the population thoughts of inevitable responsibility in the event of a defeat is an order from the very top, which will be worked out in full. Say, if we lose, the evil West will drive you into a dark corner of the cave, and will definitely eat you there.
God forbid. We do not allow and do not even say it out loud, but suddenly, let's say, something happens and our country will not be able to win. But then we must proceed from the fact that claims will be brought against everyone without exception, regardless of whether it is located on the territory of the Russian Federation or outside the Russian Federation. It's just that those who are outside will probably be immediately arrested. Whether he is an accomplice of the Putin regime or passed by it does not matter. We will all be guilty. Therefore, we proceed from the fact that at stake, in the truest sense of the word, is the existence of the country, and the existence of every citizen of the Russian Federation, and our future life as well. Any carefree is also at stake. Therefore, so that without the Hague tribunals, initiation of criminal cases, compensations, reparations, so that none of this happens, such an intensification of hostilities is needed. So it is necessary to press and pressure so that they turn to us for a truce or peace.
The idea of arresting Russians in Europe for having a chicken passport is designed for a very primitive audience, but propaganda works that way. A straightforward lie is so funny, but it works flawlessly on the scoops. But the elites are not laughing, because they can really fall under the distribution precisely as sponsors of all this terrorist pandemonium. So they lurk, and catch signals. From the West, these very signals are unambiguous. Putin's plan to seize Ukraine will not work, we will not give you this country. One and the same thing is heard from Kyiv. No negotiations until you get out of our territories, and constant hints that the Crimean operation is about to begin. First, Putin's favorite brainchild, the Crimean Bridge, will be brought down, after which the peninsula will be under blockade, cut off from the supply of food, medicine, manpower, equipment and ammunition, and then it can be returned. Under such conditions, the collector cream trembles especially intensely, and they are tensely waiting for the royal voice from above, but it is still not there. Putin's address to the Federal Assembly is again postponed, and rumors have already spread that it may not take place at all this year. Krasnoyarsk politician Dmitry Sviridov mysteriously whispers, "Events are changing rapidly, nothing can be said in the affirmative." Both on the external and internal track, today the Kremlin is considering all options for the future. From establishing a dialogue with the West, to complete and final collapse. The text that Putin can deliver in December is formulaic. There is nothing new in it, and all this he said several times this year. Uncertainty was the main reason for the unpreparedness of the message. He does not like the template text. Discussions and work on the message continues. End of quote. Aleksandr Nazarov, a member of the Russian Association of Political Consultants, one of the schematic demiurges, diagnoses deep-seated infantiles. The convulsive expectation of a message is a sure signal that a part of the elite is falling into the child role model. The elites are waiting for the elder, waiting for the most adult in the room. They have been waiting for half a year, at the same time guessing on the coffee grounds about the timing and plot of the message. And 10 months of growing up in battle was clearly not enough, and the need for a father's decision, apparently, is the national bond for today. The end of the quote. A maniac father with a rocket in one hand and a razor in the other, like the main bond of cave perverts. They are afraid of their own shadow, and so do not want to answer that they are even ready to disperse into atoms. Just let someone else make this suicidal decision, not them. And now the 6th billionaire, Vasily Anisimov, renounced Russian citizenship, received a Croatian passport and moved to Switzerland. Kudrin smoothly merges from the accounts chamber into the corridors of Yandex, and the cunning Grafe imperceptibly lathers his skis from Sberbank, while pretending that he is not going anywhere. And only Lavrov growls desperately from a filthy stall on Smolenskaya Square. In Europe, they are trying to build security without Russia and Belarus, but Moscow does not need such security. The ring shrinks, the fermentation of the upper layers of the collector increases, and in order to avoid the seething of the lower classes, the topic of the death penalty is obsessively exaggerated. They say that in Tuva only 27% of the population is against, and 64% are just in favor. Perhaps because of rumors about the imminent revelry of death sentences, wearers of robes ran from the judiciary. In the Bryansk region, 6 judges quit, in Omsk and Ivanovo, 8 each, in Tatarstan, 10, and so on. So think about the safety of your life, and not about the ghostly future, which for you personally may not come. Become our patrons now and look further in this program. Rashist attempts to advance on Bakhmut continue to break against the Ukrainian defenses, and at the Engels airfield near Saratov, there are signs of increased combat readiness. Satellite images show almost 24 Tu-95 and Tu-160 long-range bombers, ready for a sortie at any time. A modern example of the flight of engineering thought of fasteners. The Russian drone that did not reach the target became the object of ridicule of the Ukrainian military. Against the backdrop of Russia's statements that they are not carrying out terrorist activities on the territory of a hostile Europe, 4 incidents with mined parcels were recorded in Spain in just 2 days. As part of the development of bonded newspeak, a new phrase appeared in the cave, geocultural struggle. Kurgan Governor Shumkov has criticized Russian youth for their passion for Western music and dance. Chanson should be listened to, and not twitched to the songs sung by the descendants of African American slaves. And that is all. See the full version of the program on the Patreon resource. And thanks to everyone who is becoming our patrons right now. I hugged everyone. See you tomorrow on Friday Live. Glory to Ukraine.